Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
I'm Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
So we just released an episode talking about the 9 biggest winners of the 2022 recruiting cycle, so be sure to check that out on our feed. This episode, of course, is about the losers. Let us know if your team is on here, if you disagree with them being on this list. But Ryan, why don't you go give us our first loser?
All right, first one, we got a team that won the ACC this year, the Pittsburgh Panthers. Won the conference, one of the best seasons they've had in ever, really. Heisman finalist at quarterback, Kenny Pickett. And they finished 71st overall in these recruiting rankings. That's not good. You don't want that after winning the conference. And it's just weird because last year they were 29th, so it's not like this is a semi-consistent thing or at all. Narduzzi usually does a decent job, but yeah, this is a massive fall for them. It was a little bit of a small class, but only one 4-star and a low 4-star at that. Only a handful of defensive players, none of them ranked high. Not good for Pat Narduzzi here. You wanted to really parlay that into a season into a good recruiting ranking, but nope.
Yep, that's unfortunate. My first loser, maybe a controversial one, is Clemson. Now, they did get the number 1 quarterback in the country, Cade Klubnik, so it's not all bad. There's plenty of talented players they brought in this class, but the last couple of years, it seemed like they had elevated themselves in terms of recruiting to that Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama type level, to where they were going to be top 3 or 4 class every single year. This year, they ranked 11th. And their average player rating, it was a bit smaller class than some of the other teams ahead of them, of course, but their average player rating was well below previous years, so the quality wasn't quite as good. And now the explanation is that the losses of Tony Elliott at offensive coordinator and Brent Venables at defensive coordinator, that is a lot to deal with, so it's understandable. But still, especially after a kind of a down year on the field, you were hoping to get an influx of great talent and, didn't quite get that. And of course, we know the transfer portal has not yet been really tapped into by Dabo either.
Yep. All right, I'm going to go to the Northwest, Washington. The Huskies are sitting at number 93. I know they have a transition class with the new coach, Kalen DeBoer, after the firing of Jimmy Lake, but yikes. I mean, this is a program that is consistently churning out top 25, even better recruiting classes. I will concede they only have 9 commits, but they're still near the bottom of the Pac-12. If you look at average star rating, only have 1 4-star, and that's a tight end from the state of Washington. The existing cupboard isn't totally bare for DeBoer, but this class is not an ideal start.
No, that's going to be tough to. That's not the way you want to get going. It just makes things that much harder for you. But anyways, my next loser, this team. Can you read that? Not really. Yeah, there you go. Nebraska, of course. Yeah, Nebraska. Worst class I've seen for Nebraska. 41st overall in the nation. And for Nebraska, no matter who the coach has been in the past, whether it was Pelini, Callahan, even Solish back in the day, Mike Riley, even Frost, they just sleepwalk into top 25 recruiting classes. But not this year. Way, way, way down. Only 4-star. They got a couple 4-stars. One's a player that nobody really wanted because he had some health issues. The other is a receiver that we got today, which, okay, good, but we beat out Georgia Tech, so it's not like we beat out the big boys. The line recruiting on the line wasn't great. 1 offensive lineman, 1.5 maybe D lineman, because we don't know which way the guy's going to end up. But I don't know. Just don't see it here. Don't see playmakers, and it's just not good, man. Scott Frost is in a major hole.
Yep,
good transfers, though, Ryan.
Yeah, I got to hope the transfers
pull their weight. That pans out, because this ain't going to help.
All right, next loser is Cal. And, when Justin Wilcox took over a few years ago, I thought recruiting was kind of a sure thing with him. He was known as a really good recruiter. His first few classes weren't great, but last year, I think Cal was on our winners list in our episode a year ago, because they brought in a 28th ranked recruiting class, number 3 in the Pac-12. It's like, okay, the wins haven't quite been there on the field, but he's going to start elevating the talent. Well, this year, their class ranked 59th. They had some quality players decommit in the process. And so now, Wilcox got an extension, so he's going to be there for a while, but the wins haven't been there on the field, and now in recruiting, that the results aren't there. So there's still some hope for him to turn it around, but I don't know. It's not a good class.
No, it's not. All right, I'm going to go to Georgia Tech. They're at number 53 right now, and I'll be the first to admit I was pretty bullish on Jeff Collins and the Yellow Jackets a couple years ago, but it's just not quite panning out. They're 3-9, 3-7, and 3-9 on the field in his 3 years there. He signed the 27th ranked recruiting class a couple years ago, and you kind of thought that the talent in Atlanta and Georgia might start staying home. But back-to-back underwhelming classes. They also lost their star running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, to Alabama. But having the 8th best ACC class this cycle doesn't necessarily invoke a ton of confidence for Georgia Tech fans.
No. Yeah, that's not looking good down there. It's too bad. All right, we'll move on to my last loser. I have another ACC team. I got Florida State. Maybe not a terrible class for them, but they finished 20th. But by their standards, Florida State standards, that's not good. That should be a really bad, really off year for them. They should be in the top 10. And last year they were 23rd, so it's just not.
I mean, it's a different time for Florida State right now. It's not 4 or 5 years ago.
A different time, but it's that's kind of the thing. Like, even if you have some off years, you're supposed to bring in a coach that is able to recruit and get you back to that level. But 2015 they were third, 2016 they were third, 2017 sixth, 2018 11th. So it's not like, I don't know. I mean, I know they had some tough years in the field, but you should be able to recruit and pick it back up. It's still Florida State. Like,
right.
That's just, they did have a decent offensive haul, some good offensive linemen and a 4-star quarterback, but this isn't the class that's going to bring them back to Florida State of, competing for national titles.
Yeah, that's true. They're still going heavy portal, trying to kind of get back to respectability. So we'll see what happens there. But also losing Travis Hunter, that alone kind of makes you a loser. Losing Travis Hunter to Jackson State, that was a pretty brutal blow. My final loser in this class is Arizona State. Just an easy pick here in the Pac-12. They've, of course, let go of several assistant coaches because of the recruiting scandal that they had last year, but they're ranked 105th in the 24/7 Sports composite rankings. 9 players, only 2 high school players that ranked in the top 500 overall. So that's just a huge failure for Herm Edwards, even with the shakeup on the staff. So on the field, haven't dropped off. They were 8-5 this year. They were fine, but 1 or 2 more classes like this, and things could go south real quick.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna go to Wisconsin. The Badgers. They're bringing in the number 44 class, 11th in the Big Ten. It's their lowest in 4 years. Now, to their credit, they had a smaller class, only 15. But just not a terribly exciting one. No surprise that the 2 4-stars that they did get were on the offensive and defensive line. Wisconsin, they'll be fine. We know the factory that they have up in Madison usually turns out good teams. But this class is just not that upper echelon class to elevate the program even more. Last year, they pulled in the number 16 class, and you thought, okay, Christ is trying to get them playing more with the big boys of the Big Ten and nationally. Just didn't quite pan out so much for them in this cycle. So we'll see what it means for the Badgers in the long run.
Okay, that'll do it for this episode of the College Football Bros. Let us know if there's any losers that we left off. We only went 9 deep, so there were definitely more losers to choose from. I know out here, we're in California, in the Pac-12, felt like a lot of losers out west this cycle. But let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.